outside of Pragmata, I haven't been playing much, but you've actually been touching in on some other things.
Yeah, so I'll very briefly talk about. I mean, I wish I had more time to play this week, but things have just been hectic. But Saros, if you're listening to this sometime, I don't know when you put this episode out, came out, on like the 28th, 29th of April, 30th, so pretty recently.
Yeah, it came out this week.
Yeah, so we
2 days ago.
We actually got access like a couple days before launch, but just have not had the time to play. So going to this recording, I've played a hot hour or so. Okay, so this is really just
definitely
like a
review it. Yeah.
10 out of 10 game, man. Game of the year. This is really just my immediate impressions. And this is one of those, again, very similar to Pragmata, where like I knew of Saros and I think I've watched like the reveal, but I haven't watched anything after that. I don't know in terms of story and settings. That's all completely new to me. But yeah, what I immediately thought upon watching this game is, how has it been that long since Returnal came out? Returnal was a long time ago, but also a PS5 game, like one of the first PS5 games that comes to mind. And I remember playing Returnal and thinking how they nailed the use of the controller, the DualSense. Like, man, I hope more games do this. And the reality is, a lot of games haven't done that. I think Returnal is still the only game that has, like, not the only one, but one of the best use cases of, a half trigger pull and this and that, and it feels very, part of the gameplay. And because it's House Marquee who did Returnal, they've got a similar thing with Saros, where it is like, again, it's still early in the game, but if you half pull something, it does something. If you full pull, it does something else. And it just feels, I remember playing Returnal going, this feels very weird, but you pick it up so quickly and you can't help but wonder, why do more people not do this on the PlayStation? It's just, it seems to be like not an easy thing to do, but such a simple thing to do if you're doing a PS5 exclusive, like just build some weapon stuff around that controller, and it feels so good and tactile. And I'm really feeling that from Saros, where the combat is, it feels very much like Returnal in terms of look and movements and stuff. You're dashing as good Raul. God, I'm gonna butcher his name now.
Raul Kohli.
Raul Kohli. You're playing as a guy called Arjun who wakes up on this planet. They give you a little bit of context of, there's this planet, something. Movements is very much like Returnal, where it's fast paced, you can dash. But I think what's immediately different and new is that he has access to the shield, which if you're watching the footage, it's that. You can use it to not only block projectiles, but another twist is that it actually powers up your one attack. So,
okay.
Again, if you're watching the footage, I use like a special ability there. You can only use that ability when you've used your shield to absorb some of those like blue energy charges, whatever.
Interesting.
Yeah. So again, like it's taking the formula of Returnal, and so I keep going back to the game. It's completely different, but there are definitely similarities in DNA from that game. They've taken some learnings from Returnal and they've just refined and added some twists to it. And that's one of the immediate things that I saw was like, you need to now be strategic of when you're fighting a whole lot of enemies in a room at once. It becomes a thing of like, okay, I've got my shield to block certain projectiles, but I should be catching the blue projectiles because that powers up my other ability. But it's kind of difficult to, not difficult, but you need to like wrap your head around that, because it's the thing of you don't want to die. To try to dodge incoming projectiles, but also trying to figure out when is an enemy going to shoot like the blue stuff so I can power up my secondary ability or whatever. So there's a lot of stuff I still need to figure out and understand what's going on in the game. But after my first hour, I'm like, yes, I want to play more of this. It just reminds me of Returnal and how much I love that game. Like I remember playing that back in the day and just not hating, but it was super challenging, and I'm craving
so
that
hard
again. From this game, I've seen apparently it's a little bit more forgiving, not as difficult, but I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk. There's still going to be a lot of challenge in it, which I'm very keen to sink my teeth into.
Yeah, I think they've learned. I mean, Returnal was challenging, but I felt like it was also overtly punishing in terms of how
super punishing,
long the runs were, and also having to restart a run from scratch every single time. Like, yes, it's a roguelite, but the length of the runs and the challenge of each run was a bit like, oof, I don't know. If I get to the fourth biome and die because like I've seen something for the first time and I have to redo all of that, it felt a bit too much.
Yeah.
And I remember in the early months, you also couldn't save a run.
Yeah.
So if you left your console or whatever, your run was just toast. So very strange. As far as I know, this one, if you get into a new biome, you can just jump back to that biome from a new
Okay.
run. So
Nice.
that's a big change, and I think that's where maybe some of the ease of use comes in. So
Mm.
you can definitely see this as like very Returnal
Yeah.
esque. Like the movement looks so similar,
It's very similar, yeah.
and the weapons look so similar. I like the shield. I like the idea of using defense as an attack. That seems like it's going to have some cool implications for the combat loop. So
Yeah, it just
very keen
adds
to give this a go soon.
another little elements of gameplay. And because it is run based, are things you're picking up. Like again, I'm still early days, but I can see how in a run you'll pick up different items. I think they're called artifacts. If you're watching the footage, I just picked one up. But another interesting twist or thing is that sometimes you'll come across an artifact and it'll be like, cool, I'll give you this benefit, but at the cost of this. It's one of those risk versus reward things. Where, for example, one I picked up last night was, okay, like I'll give you this buff, but then your dash cooldown's a bit longer. It's like, oh, like, okay, is that trade-off worth it? Cool, like I'll do it. Okay. Then later on picking up another thing of, I'll give you this positive buff, but enemies will do more damage. So, and that's not every artifact you come across. There are some that just straight up give you a buff. But I know when I'm getting really into the weeds of the game and I'm, min-maxing or trying to optimize something, it will become a thing of like, damn, how much like chaos or how many negative things am I willing to take on to like power myself up? Yeah, it's interesting.
Am I gonna be glass cannon where I take all the damage buffs, but then I have to play as if I never get touched because otherwise I'm just gonna get completely smoked? Those sorts of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And last thing I'll touch on is another key thing is that you actually have a crew in this game. Returnal was very much like, I'm Celine, I'm on a planet, what the hell is going on? Just
there's an astronaut in a house and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, like that, and it's for the most part it was her going like, what is going on here? I need to figure out what's going on. Yeah, from pretty much from the get-go, you figure out like, oh, I've got a crew, I've got a few crew members I can talk to that help flesh out the story, and they're all like, what's going on. So it's going to be interesting to see those scenes play out where, Raul's actually going to have people to talk to and interact with, which is cool. And I don't know how it feeds into, upgrades or things like that, but there's basically like a home hub that you go to between each run that you can, get bits of story exposition and things like that, which is quite cool.
Okay, so more story focused this time around.
I think so. I mean, it's not to say that Returnal didn't have a story, but that very much was, the story is just told
vague.
Like super vague. You might pick up codex entries. Yeah, you've got people that are talking, like even on a run you see it's like, cool, you need to follow this signal, this and this is happening, we're trying to figure this out. It's like, okay, cool, like maybe it's a bit easier to follow the story in this game.
Yeah, I guess if you hire an actor like Rahul Kohli, you're not doing it just for his likeness.
Yeah.
I mean, dude is an actor. He's very good. You want to at least use him for like voice acting and stuff. And I think it's really cool having him in the game because he is, I mean, if you follow him on socials, like a very big gamer. Like that, he loves video games. He's been in and around the space for ages. I mean, you weren't there, I don't think actually, but me and Greg, you met Greg. He went, he attended E3 with us like 2 times. We met him at a party.
Nice.
Like he was at one of the E3 after parties and we chatted a bunch about games there. Like he's super into this industry, loves it. So to see him represented in the game is pretty cool. And I think it's a cool moment for him as well.
Yeah.
I'm really keen to give this a go really soon because I loved Returnal. Difficulty and all, I think it was really fun. And like you said, it uses the DualSense in a really interesting way. I remember playing it on PC when it did eventually come out on PC and using not the DualSense, and it felt weird.
How did that work?
They had to obviously work around. It was different button presses for the different alt-fire modes, and it just felt not as natural and smooth. I love this idea of having to think about half trigger presses and full ones, and how natural that starts feeling very, very quickly. So yeah, it's neat. Keen to give this a go as soon as Pragmata's out of the way.
Yeah, I want to wrap up Pragmata, and then our next episode, I'm sure we'll have a lot more to say about
definitely
Saros.
Definitely.